In life, you get to meet many different people who inspire you. And I'm absolutely delighted this morning to be speaking to Dr. Joseph Rizk, the current CEO and Managing Director of the Arab Bank of Australia. And I'm going to preface my comments by putting one of the most important things last, first, AM. AM in Australian context is an award given for the consistency and the professionalism and the very deep values of giving and influencing our business, our social, and our political system to be better. And I'm absolutely delighted, as I say, to say good morning to Dr. Rizk, because that AM epitomises everything that Joseph does personally and also professionally. And that's why he is sought after worldwide to give his insight into business and to developing better communities, whether nationally or globally. Good morning,
Good
Dr.
morning,
Rizk.
Jim, and thank you for those lovely words and for your great contribution to the community and the last few years to CapTech. I know what you've been able to do, and your support has been enormous. And
Well,
of course, we all thank, of course, Rahman and Sarah and the team, the whole team at CapTech, for their
yes.
great effort and their support. And really, what it's all about is just bringing people together, right? Bringing some investors to this great country, and of course, making this great country aware of what is happening in other parts of the world, like the subcontinent. And it is that great teamwork that motivates people and gets people interested. So investment into this great country is not just an opportunity for parties, but it's very, very constructive for the long term. And we know the current focus on productivity, right? We have some really great opportunities in the housing sector, the defence sector, and of course, the overall energy sector, right? We see what's happening with critical minerals. We see what's happening with the geopolitical issues, which only tell you that there's great opportunities in this country. So for me and the association that I've had with CapTech since 2023, and we were there in 24, and really look forward to 25 to bring people together in that same sort of fashion. But the level of excitement, the level of awareness has compounded over these few years. And it's great to see the stakeholders are also including governments at all level. So well done to the team at CapTech, and really looking forward to the conference in November. And I'm sure we will always encourage people to participate. So that's a quick summation for you, Jim, and Sarah. And let me know if there's anything else you need me to cover.
Uh, Joseph, what excites me about you is that with over 45 years of experience at every level, you have seen our globe grow and you have seen Australia in particular grow in your roles, whether it be with the Italian Opera, whether it be with the Millennium Research at Westmead, whether it be with the Western Sydney University. You have been at the forefront of all of those developments, one amongst many, but your leadership skills and your knowledge is second to none. And I say that publicly without fear. In saying that, Joseph, what are the things that you think our audience and our various stakeholders will pick up in terms of leadership that you will bring to your presentation?
I think one of the key elements, Jim, as you can see in this changing world, is the impact of technology, right? The impact that AI is having. And I think those that grasp the change and look at the positives that that change can bring, right, are the ones that will do well, right? You've got to be cautious. There's no doubts about that. But the reality is you've got to be up there. You've got to be aware of what the change is to grasp those opportunities. And what's encouraging is that the participants are driven along that line. They
Mm.
can see how this change in technology will affect their products and their services going forward, right? So my message to everybody is don't fear change, grasp it and manage it, and extract really the benefits that change can bring.
And I'm very much applauding you for those comments. That commentary is significant because 45 years ago, the world was very different in so many ways.
Yeah.
Today, people get on the phone, they use technology, as you've said, to communicate. You raised a really good point with regards to relationships. How important have they been to you over your 45 years in business?
I think they're the key. They're the key, Jim. That if you don't develop relationships, you really miss out. People see through if you're just looking at a short-term gain, right? It's the players in the market that have that positive approach to relationship building, right? So if you don't take that focus, it's one of the reasons why I talk to a lot of people who are doing trade. I said, you just got to keep at it.
Mm.
You don't change your strategy because of budgetary constraints. You've got to keep some sort of presence, some sort of approach with people that you develop relationships. It's one of the reasons why we probably drop the ball on a trade basis with different parts of the world from time to time, is that we focus for the short term and not for the long term. And I've seen that in quite a few regions throughout the world. And I encourage people, just keep developing your relationships, be persistent. People get comfort, they trust you if you're there for the long haul.
Without embarrassing you, Joseph, that's why, like a number of our speakers, people admire you because they trust you. And I don't say that
Yeah,
just for the sake of saying it. The relationships you have, the organizations that you are involved with and continue to be involved with
yeah,
is really a very insightful, and I am inspired like many for the generosity. You're a person that gives so much, and then you ask yourself, why are you successful? And I
mm,
think that recipe that you've given freely comes back because you genuinely believe in people. And I
yeah,
see that I've been very fortunate to be with you for the last couple of years at Captech,
yeah,
and I see something that's very important to me. People will either move to you or away from you in life.
mm,
I often see four, five, six people walk towards you just to say hello, to continue that relationship, like with Rod, like with other people that will be there on that day. And I again make that public because that's one of the key cornerstones of this CapTech glue, if you like, for all stakeholders during November in particular at our event. You talk about purpose. And while that may not be a significant um, matter in terms of a balance sheet, I think it really is. The purpose of what you do in all your life cascades into your business world.
very true. Purpose is critical, Jim, and it's purpose with a bit of bounce in your step,
Mm,
right? You can have a purpose, but if you don't invigorate the people around you, if you don't sort of move in a very positive manner, right? People will not respond, right? You can have a great purpose, but it's how you energize the
mm.
people around you, how you energize yourself, right? That allows you to get to the next level, right? So it's a lot of corporations have purpose, but they just don't have the means to see that purpose through in a very positive manner, right? So you've got to keep energizing yourself.
And if I may say, one of the things that I reflect upon at Captech over the last couple of years is that interaction. You can feel the energy of people wanting to either be part of someone else's life or someone else's life being part of theirs because of that relationship. And I see that often when I look at you and Raman and Sarah and Rod.
Yeah. Well, it's the passion. It's the passion that people display with their ideas, with their products. You know perfectly well, Jim, that people coming to you with a product, and if they don't put that forward with a fair bit of passion and really develop the wow experience behind that, it doesn't carry,
Uh,
right?
You've got me excited already, Joseph, because,
Yeah,
you know, when I sit back or when I stand and observe, I think you're a great observer of human behavior, and so am
yeah,
I. You
yeah,
look at the interaction, the closeness of people talking, two
yeah,
and three people, you can see things starting to
yeah,
bubble, to
yeah,
emerge.
yeah.
And there's over the few days of CapTech, you can see those relationships getting stronger and stronger.
Yes, very true.
I'm
100%.
One of the things that's very important, as we know, there is a lot of capital in the world at the moment from a variety. But what's important is it's nearly a negative to not have non alignment of capital with opportunity. You would see that all the time in your business world. Alignment is a critical part of CapTech.
Yeah, very true. If you don't have the alignment, if you don't have, the power on both sides of the equation, then you can't link them.
Mm,
They just don't link, right? And one of the great strengths of this country, with all of our issues on a geopolitical level and so forth, but one of the greatest strengths is the stability of this country. The AAA rated nature of our economy
mm,
is a driver for investment, right? And there's not many countries throughout the world that have that sort of a rating and have that capacity to take it to the next level.
mm,
Right? We've got so much capacity in this country. It's just about harnessing it and really getting that energy moving. You notice the recent initiatives by the government in terms that will come out of this, right? It will take time, but I think that is something which is so important. Productivity is what allows you to generate the wealth. It allows you to generate a community which is comfortable in moving forward, right? So it really does provide a little bit more equity to a whole broad range of the community. So I think there's some positive trends that are coming through. We just got to think this will take years and years to get it underway. We've got to really work at it, and that's at all levels. That's government, the private sector, right? All facets of business, right? And it's just the general mentality. We've got to get back to the focus is that the Australian economy doesn't necessarily owe us, right? We owe it to ourselves to a
mm.
large extent to really get things moving. So yes, there's some really positive opportunities in this great country, as you can see. We've got enormous amount of wealth. It's about putting in the infrastructure, the mechanisms to get it moving. And I think this is why investment in this country has got some really great long-term benefit.
And in the context of what you've just said, and that was really well expressed,
Yeah,
Joseph, is the significance of coming with the right attitude, whether it is a provider of resources, financial resources, or coming there looking for opportunity. If
yeah,
you bring your kit bag ready to be positive, to be professional, and to be a person who is trying to grow, then
yeah.
CapTech 25 can provide that environment.
Yeah. Look, we can see the potential there, Jim, simply because we reflect back on the last few years, right? And the level of excitement that even government is
Mm,
now showing with this process, because it just takes teamwork, right? To do anything, you've got to really have that team approach,
mm.
right? And the collaboration that's needed is always critical.
Uh, Joseph, I'm going to leave you with this last question, and
Yep,
and I'm sorry it's a question without notice, but
that's okay.
I just know how well you are able to converse and think, because this is at the forefront of your own thinking.
Yep.
If you're not there at CapTech 25, What are you missing out on?
Well, I think what you miss out on is the ability to listen to some great speakers, right?
Mm,
Some insight, right? We all talk about change. We all talk about the environment we're in, but it's fabulous, to participate over those 3 days, and
mm,
of course the main conference day, because you're listening to ideas, you're listening to people with a bit of passion about what they're trying to achieve, right? And if you walk away not achieving anything, to me that'll be quite
mm.
surprising,
I
right?
agree.
We've always got to be in life, always be open-minded to learning, right? From an early age, we're excited about learning, right? As we get older, if we stop thinking about learning, we actually go backwards at a rapid rate, right? So always be eager to learn, eager to participate. And this is a great event in the sense that, we'll have some people there who are energized, not only on what they're developing, but also they've energized other parties that are there in the investment field, right? In in the general economic field, right? So yes, some really important opportunities. And if you're not there, well, you're going to miss out. That's my view.
That's a very good summary and a good conclusion to our discussion this morning. Can I again reiterate my comments that I made previously, Joseph? I want to thank you for the hearts and minds that you've helped cultivate over the last 45 years in business, in the commercial world associated with business, particularly not-for-profit organisations, and receiving an AM in 22 in the context of that. That really epitomizes the values you have. And there's no difference between the values you have as a person and the way you conduct yourself in business. And to me, that's critical. For those who are going to be there and are looking for purpose and opportunity, please be there for Dr. Joseph Rizk, AM.
Dr. Jim, thank you very much. And I hate to admit it, but it's actually 51 years banking. So
I was trying to be nice. Sorry, Joe.
that's okay. It'll get out quickly now.
Um, yeah.
Much
Well, we
appreciated.
are a better. Well, I'm going to say this: we are a better community because of people like you who give
Yeah.
freely. I'm over the moon about what you do, and I only know probably half of what you do. And there's a whole generosity that's second to none, and that is carried across in your family, into your business acumen, and to the wider community. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Jim.